Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Good. Welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast, your one-stop shop for all things rugby union. And once again, I'm joined in studio, late as usual. What?
Whoa. As usual.
As usual.
I was literally going to be on time until I caught traffic literally 100 metres away because of you guys are in a very bad spot for protesters because you traffic.
Right in the middle of it.
Yeah, they didn't announce there was going to be a hikoi on today, eh? That no one knew. No one knew, eh?
I left well and truly early enough to still try and make it on time.
But, well, there we are. We're also joined by a good friend, Jeff Goldie Wilson. Jeff, where are you?
I'm in Gisborne, actually. I'm in Gisborne for the day, catching up at the end Kirkpatrick this morning, having a bit of a chat to him. So I'm looking forward to yarning about his diet. He's the patron of New Zealand rugby, so I'm just over here for a bit of a chat.
Oh. Ask him how his calf is, if it's recovered from the 50-metre race that he tried to have against the boys when we were in South Africa.
Oh, in South Africa? Okay, I'll ask about that.
Our version of BJ
Yep.
with the Hurricanes, and he said to our viewers, I'll give you buggers a good go for you in a minute. And so there's about 3 false starts, and then on the last one, the sniper got him.
What year was this?
Oh, I don't know. Quite some time ago.
Mid-2000s?
Yep.
Wow,
Anton Oliver tells a story. He came to train. He came to All Black training for a week, and he must have been late 50s. He couldn't help himself, but he got a pair of boots and he got in the mixer. You know, he ran in his defence, and it was. Anton said it was one of the most. Were you there for that?
He was. What was he? I don't think I was.
He was smoking people appearing in training. Like he just didn't know how to go half pace. Late 50s.
He would have been 50, like about 58, like Mike Tyson was against Jake Paul.
I think he would have gone better than Tyson, to be honest.
He shows a bit more guts.
It was a wee bit of a anti-climax. I think that's been kind as well.
Yeah, it was a disappointment. Let's be fair.
You look at all the video footage of the sparring and practice he was there, and then you see in the thing, he's like, hang on,
where'd that
fooled?
go?
The magic of television, boys. The magic of television.
Angle here. Look, he looks amazing.
And push fast forward when you record it, and all of a sudden it looks as though it's moving a lot quicker.
Even got a Mike Tyson arse shot. What's that?
That's your strongest memory of the day. Oh, that's disappointing.
I just think that I was, whoa, where did that, what the? I still wouldn't want to jump in the ring.
Nah.
I actually thought Jake would have, still had that guard on his ear like he did in the...
Oh, crikey. Gee, let it go. It was a long time ago. Righty-ho, let's get on to a bit of rugby. And there was some played over the weekend. All Blacks up against the French. A fantastic atmosphere there. And before the game started, how good was the pre-match haka? Well, first of all, I'm really happy with the way that the French, I guess, produced that. It was sensational.
It was. I didn't actually see it live, but I went back and watched it later on because I was like, oh god. And it was, I missed that part, but then I went back and watched it. I thought the way that they done it was amazing. Not only that, just even for the anthems as well, and everyone sort of had their cameras out, their lights out on their phones. Sort of made it like pretty special. Actually, it reminded me of the opening of the World Cup here in 2011, turning all the lights off and everyone having their torches going on their phones, and I thought it was actually pretty special to see that. I don't know if they're still getting fined these days, $10,000 if you cross the 10 metre.
No, they've stopped that because there's a lot of drama in and around it, and I think they understand that the respect's there. You know, it's never. I don't think it's ever going to cross a line now. It was a really nice touch for me, and it's the first time I've seen that. I'm not sure if it's happened before, but the transition from Cody to Rico in the middle of a haka in terms of the leading it. Piri, is that something that happens normally? It happens before, or why do you think they may have done that?
No, that's the first time it's ever been done. You see it at other levels of games where they have two kaya and stuff like that. One will start it, and then the other one will continue it. But I thought it was pretty cool. I know they've gone away from the flying V, or the stronghold, as they call it. But I actually quite enjoyed the fact that Cody started it, and then Rico obviously continued it to the end there. So it was pretty cool. And I just enjoyed that the lighting was purely on the French players, and then the All Blacks boys as well.
It was like a Broadway production. The professionalism of it all was just super. And as you say, it was sort of like a concert with all the cameras in the crowd and shining the lights. It was a great way to start on a Sunday morning.
Well, I think just the whole atmosphere. You run out, flames throwing, and they've got obviously fireworks that resemble the French flag and things like that. So the whole build up leading into before you even get on do the anthems, it was amazing.
Right, let's get to the game. And Jeff, first of all, your overview of the game as a whole. A loss for the All Blacks, but they had the opportunity for the win there. There are a couple of decisions late in the game where you could say, why don't we do this? How do you think things unwound, and whether there should have been, there's a few talking points, but yeah, your overall thoughts on the game.
Look, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and you can debate whether or not we should have taken 3 points, which we did, or we should have gone to the corner. But ultimately, as a performance, I think from both teams, I think it's a really good indicator of they're both really good rugby sides. I mean, that's the reality of where we are right now. I think France have got our number in a number of ways. Look, they're a team that are incredibly difficult to beat at home. They've proven that, and they've proven it again. I don't think there's just too much between the top 5 teams in the world right now. You're coming to moments, you're coming to experience, you're coming to teams that just know how to finish that little bit better. And we actually did finish quite strongly. We put ourselves in a position to win the game. It's just we weren't able to find that one last opportunity. A few questions. I thought Cam Roigard was outstanding. He answered those questions about how good he's obviously going to be in the All Black jersey. I'd maybe like to see our reserves come on a little bit earlier in the second half to stop sort of an accumulated fatigue across the whole team, maybe to give some other guys a little bit of help a little bit earlier, because I've got probably a little bit more trust in them now. The likes of your Amuas and Tossi, obviously Offa's got so much experience, Patrick. Maybe injecting them into the game would give us maybe a little bit of a lift after half-time, because we conceded 2 pretty quick tries, and we looked a little bit gassed, if you ask me, because it had taken a lot of effort in the first 40 to get us that little bit of a cushion we did have. So, but overall, look, it's a disappointment because we lost, but what we gave to a lot of young players was a great experience, and they'll be hugely would have benefited it massively.
Piri, Jeff mentioned Cam Roigard, who had a massive, massive game. But if you look throughout the team, there weren't too many disappointing performances. The team as a whole stood up, and I agree with Jeff. I think they did look a wee bit tired as they came out after half time, and they just got caught off guard. But your thoughts on the match?
Oh, I thought it was good. I was actually pretty happy for Peter, even though he had to come on pretty early in the game. But I think out of the 3 loose forwards, I'd probably say he probably outplayed the 2 in Artie and Wallace. Just watching from what he was doing, he was actually still taking contact, still powering through, and I felt like he was making something out of nothing too majority of the time, whereas the other 2, I felt probably just trying to batter themselves through a brick wall, and probably rather than using their feet like they usually do up the middle of the field. But I thought I'm the same with Jeff when it comes to comes to the substitutions, I thought we probably should have brought definitely our front row on a lot earlier, especially our two props. I know that they've been playing long minutes the previous test, but a team that a culture where scrummaging is their number one thing that they like to go to every time. I thought that the front row done a lot to start the game, and it would have been good just to finish, which was a little bit too late, but just the energy. I mean, in saying that, I mean, would we ever consider a 6-2 split then, or even go close to the bomb squad?
Look, the thing, there's a reason it works to me is the fact you do get that lift after half time. I don't understand it because you get the chance to put them back on if there's injuries anyway. So do what South Africa do, like put guys on. I mean, I trust my two guys on the bench, eight guys on the bench. Yeah, I know Tamaiti and Tyrell have been going great, but they'd had 2 big weeks 2 weeks before. Like I just looked as though we looked a little bit gassed, And to me, I think those are areas I look at it and go, we need to make maybe a shift in mentality around the 6-2 split. If we've got the versatility in our back line, why not go that way if we've got the ability to do that? I mean, look, we're not like a France. We haven't got an Antoine Dupont who can go from half-back to first five. But I do look at it and go, maybe there's a possibility when we are, guys can shift out. Rico can play so many different positions. We can cover the back. I mean, Will Jordan covers the wing. Just having that opportunity would be nice. If you did decide to start McKenzie and Barrett again, then at 6-2 would be easy. So, but overall, it just means it frames the season a little bit differently now. We'll beat Italy, and I'm being pretty clear on this. It'll end up being a good season. 10-4. That's going to be good, but not great.
I guess if we had someone like a Piri Weepu on the bench play 9 or 10, that would help out a wee bit as well.
TJ's played 10.
Well, let's get to TJ a little bit later. First of all, the TMO, and this is the first time that I've actually noticed the TMO actively get involved in decision making during the test. Your thoughts on how the TMO went, Jeff?
Or how many of the TMOs do we want to talk about? Because there's multiples now. Like there's like a foul play TMO and another TMO who's looking at other actions in the game. So my thoughts on it, I'm glad the Southern Hemisphere, we're distancing ourselves from that. And in our competitions, whether it be Rugby Championship, whether it be Super Rugby here in New Zealand for our NPC, we're trying to reduce the role of the TMO. Well, we over the weekend, we saw 4 or 5 instances at least where a referee is going back to something that he has missed, which is inconsequential really in terms of the game, and it's just confusing fans and people watching the game alike. Hold on, there's been a couple of things. Who's made this decision? Oh, someone in his ears, doing a running commentary, and I got some of the TMO audio sent to me, and it's constant. Who'd want to be a referee in the middle now? Because you've basically got someone in your ear second guessing you, and it's almost spotlighting the guy in the middle about all the things that they're missing. It's absurd, And the high ball contesting, opening up, is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, because it was an area we're trying to protect the catcher, right? So now we're just exposing him, and we're back to having the collisions in the air that they were trying to avoid. So it doesn't make any sense whether they're so reactive going, there's illegal screen. It's literally because they can't tell the difference between an illegal screen and a guy just retiring. That's why they've put this in place. That's why you actually need the odd rugby player, the guy who's actually played the game, to actually become a TMO. Like, give them the opportunity to go. The South Africa-England one was the one for me where the English chaser was never going to get to where the ball was going to land. So he just decided to run into the nearest guy, ran into the back of him, offline, and it got a penalty for it. He said, I'm not even going to get to the ball, so I'm going to run into something. Same on a kickoff. I'm not going to get to the guy catching the ball with the kickoff, so I'm going to run into the nearest player, run into his back who's retreating. So I just think that once again, World Rugby has been reactive to something, thinking, and now it's encouraging more kicking, because you think, well, I can just get up and flail at somebody in the air, and so I'm not sure they've thought this one through.
It's almost like this is rugby union's version of the NRL bunker, and regardless of the technology that they have, I agree with you. If they don't have an understanding of the game, then there are going to be a number of decisions made that the crowd will be going, how do they come up with that?
Well, the thing about Piri, did you see that South African try, that wonderful South African try that got ruled out for the forward pass? It's called momentum. That's what passing a rugby will have.
Come out of the hands backwards and then floated forward. But they always talk about like the motion that the hands are going in, and then they don't really care about the flight of it, and then all of a sudden they pulled that back, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, what's going on here?
It's a wonderful try.
It was. I feel like it needs to go back to where if the referees miss something, then he should ask the TMO for his view, as opposed to someone chirping away in your ear. It was, hang on, what was that? I missed it. Can you tell me where we're going? No. And reintroduce the captain's challenge. That was pretty cool. I thought that would be good, because sometimes the TMO misses quite a few things where the players that are actually on the ground can question stuff because they obviously see it live and it's right in front of them.
In real time, no one thought. In real time, no one thought that wasn't a try, and it was like that South African try was a great piece of play. And the moment you start working on the lines on the field as your reference points of what is a forward pass, and it's been released here and it's gone there. No, that's just not how it works. That's not how momentum works, And so, to me, once again, if you've got a player who understands that's sitting there and goes, well, no, that's just normal. That's what happens. No one questioned that. Everybody's raised his hand, awarded the try. Everyone should have just said, that's awesome. Instead, it's a little bit like the Atoje clean-out. I mean, seriously, it has to be, to me, it's the clear and obvious. That's what the TMO was always supposed to be there. The absolute clear and obvious that was missed, right? And they've got away from that in the Northern Hemisphere. As long as we stick to our guns on the South, at least we know for us we're going to get a better product.
Your player of the game for the All Blacks? Or you want to pick out a forward and a back?
I'd probably say Piri Weepu for me as a forward, and then the back would probably be Caleb Clark, or either Caleb Clark or Cam. I still think Cam struggled a bit because the referee was a bit I felt that he was allowing what the Irish did to us, allowing the players to stay around that area. They talk about rolling east and west, not north and south, and they were pretty much there every time, disrupting it, slowing our ball down. I know Cam's a lot better if you saw when he did come on against Ireland, the ball was gone straight away because there was no one there. The boys cleaned out. He was there, got rid of the ball, and we're pretty good when we're going forward with momentum. And I thought that the ref didn't do much around that area yet. Our boys should have probably adopted what the French were doing and lying in the wrong areas of the breakdown. I thought he still did a pretty good job, but I felt it could have been a lot better if the ref had cleaned that area up.
Jeff, for you, Piri Weepu, who probably expected to be coming on with about 20 minutes ago and found himself playing almost the whole game. Fairly impressive, but for you, your players of the match?
Yeah, Piri Weepu was awesome, but Tamaiti Williams was my player of the game. You're talking against the French team who look at this scrum and seeing as a weapon, the All Black scrum through that left-hand side. And that's where I'll shout out the fact, a lot of people are talking at the moment, maybe that Scott Barrett's not playing as well as he has in the past. He's not as visible in terms of some of the things he's doing, but the work he's doing at line-out time, at scrum time, the basics of being a world-class lock, he's doing incredibly well, cleaning out. He does the odd carry, but to me, Tamaiti Williams the potential for this kid in the All Black jersey. We're talking about a long career because he was dominant, and you see him making breaks up the middle of the park. He carries well. We're only scratching the surface in some ways about how impactful he can be. So for me, Tamaiti's the one that's, I think, had a fantastic season, being, outstanding. Missed a lot of Super Rugby, but after that hamstring injury, but looks back to his very best and proving himself on the international level. And I'm with you on Caleb Clark. Man, every time he touches the ball, something really positive happens. And we're seeing no defensive lapses from Caleb. That's been one of the areas, I think, if you looked at his game in Super Rugby, you still saw some defensive decision-making that wasn't sharp, where he's got into the top team and he is just looking accurate and dangerous, fast, powerful, and playing without fear. No tentativeness whatsoever. So, really happy with where he's at.
Righty-ho. Time for a Wainui whisper.
Nothing this week.
What do you mean nothing?
I was too busy.
Did you play in that bucket tournament at Wainui Golf Course?
That's where I was.
Yeah, I know. That's
why
why
I
you...
missed.
Surely some whispers around the golf course. Come on now.
And the bucket tournament is when they cut the hole the size of a bucket.
Well,
Yeah, it's the size of a
roughly.
bucket.
Oh, it looks a bit smaller than that, but yeah, pretty much. I'll tell you what, my putting was on. It's the first ever. If I was missing the hole, I was cabbage. Bloody hell! But it was a pretty good day actually. I think there was close to 30 teams that played.
Yeah.
Did you not get the invite?
No, we played in the morning. We got there at 6:30, and we went round, finished by 9:30 when you fellas came on. So
my mate was messaging me and goes, "No pressure, but I've wondered a few times. Like, well, you got the wrong person to play with you, cuz. You want someone that can actually hit the ball properly and go straight, not to the left or the right."
So where'd your team finish?
6th.
Oh, that's respectable.
Did you score?
I think we finished with 12 under. We had a English guy that the boys have known for quite some time, Paul, and he hits it pretty straight. So he'll hit it down the centre, and then me and my mate would just grip and rip. And if we got better than him, then we'll take it.
So it's a 3-man Ambrose? 3-man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Predominantly, it was mostly him, and then we just, if ours was to the right or on the other field, we have to take mine, bro.
And then you putt first. I'll roll it in here, no problem at all.
My line.
Yeah.
Do the opposite to what I did.
Don't hit it on this line.
But it was a good day, though. I enjoyed it.
Okay, question for you, and we'll start with you, Jeff. Are the French now a bit of a bogey team for the All Blacks, having won the last 3 tests? I think they've all been in Paris, so there's that.
There's definitely that. I think you have to say that, next year will be nice to have them in New Zealand for 3 test matches.
We have the proper French team?
Well, that's entirely up to them. I was pretty vocal on Sunday around this. It'll be a disservice to the game if they bring a second 15 here. It comes to when you're talking about the top tier teams playing against each other. If you want to do the game and respect the game, then you should put your best side out there that's fit and available. Now, I can understand if they've got some guys who are carrying injuries or need stuff done, at the end of their season. I get that. But if guys are fit and available, and they should be in a position to tour, and you've got to use it as an opportunity if you're France to continue to test yourself. And their explanation will be, we're going to grow their squad and we'll give guys an opportunity. But that'll be disappointing if they do that. But if it means we win 3-0, that means, if they don't show up and we go out and beat them and they'll say it was a second team, well, it doesn't matter. You had the opportunity to keep dominance over us and you turned that down. That's what you turned down. And they've got to remember too, they're coming to Australia for a World Cup, right? They're not playing in the North at the next Rugby World Cup. So you should want your top players to experience coming down to the Southern Hemisphere and playing. Because I'm pretty sure, when it comes to Australia, there's going to be plenty of Kiwis over there and travelling going to support their team.
I think it's not only that, it's actually like the way that they do things. Like, if you're a home team, you're guaranteed to win a game there. When you go away, they send like a second 15 type team to go and play away from home. And I feel like it's the mentality that they use to go international, which is like the worst. I hated it when I was over there. That would rest some of our key players when knowing that we can go and get points. If we compete really well, we're going to get the results that we want. But they guaranteed to get a home win purely because the fans hate on the referees and the referee's scared. And, that's how passionate they are. But I feel like that they actually need to bring their best team. I know, 3 years, it'll be 2 years after next year. But I mean, if you want to look at combinations for the what ifs, what if Intermac gets injured and you don't have him, and then you need your third and your fourth to come and travel? You still need to work on the development, but them being in the squad is going to be one of the biggest ones. I think that was why it was pretty good to have a few of the boys on an India tour that potentially could be in a role where they'll later on be a part of the squad. Like India in 2004, it was me, Luke McAllister, Jerome Kaino. Luke and Jerome didn't play until potentially the last game of the tour, but it was like them getting their foot in the door with the development side of it, and then once they got a taste of it, they start working to be wanting to be that starting role. And I think if they don't do that properly with the right guys, they could just come down here and waste our time, and then once we go there, they'll go, we didn't have our strong team, that's why you guys beat us 3-0. Like, if you want to compete at the highest level, you've got to take your best team, play week in, week out, top footy, just so that you know where you fellas stand in the world. You can't just play here, one good game here, and then that's it, and think you guys are the top of the crop. You've got to consistently play your top team week in, week out, and show everyone that you are very competitive, which they did on the weekend.
Well, World Cups tell you that. World Cups, the Southern Hemisphere, understand the big moments and find a way when it wins in its quarterfinals for both Ireland and France. Have become you talk about Achilles' heels. That's become their challenge. So you've got to put yourself under pressure as often as you possibly can. And in the global game right now, there's actually only a few games you can do that. I mean, that's the reality of like I said, the top crop was right there, and then there's other games. Now they talk about the Six Nations. Yep, it's internally it's a great competition. But there's only 5 games. That's it. There's 5 games, and if you're at home against in Italy or Scotland, and I think they lost to Italy this year, or drew with them, which was crazy. But you look at France and you're going, what differently can you do? What can you do differently at times of the year to test yourself? They've been presented a great opportunity to come to New Zealand, so do it right. Mind you, they couldn't even get one of their own, their reserve first 5 to want to hang around. He wanted to go back and play club rugby. He's at home, let alone him fancy trying to get him to go to the other side of the world.
Mine already.
Seriously. mate, I know we're going to get to New Zealand, man. I'm not prepared to sit on the beach at home, let alone go to the other side of the world. So let's see how this all plays out, But yeah, I mean, these 3 weeks were big 3 weeks for the All Blacks, I always thought the French would be the toughest, just based around how they draw and having a game, and it turned out being that way.
You mentioned that they come up with the excuse we're trying to build sort of strength across the squad, but build more numbers into the French. Is it the best way to do that, what the All Blacks have done, by taking an All Black 15 over there at the same time and play? Why don't bring a French 15 down here at the same time and play like a Heartland team and a couple of other teams parallel to the actual French team?
No, I think we had far too many players away on tour. We had too many guys that didn't actually play for the All Blacks 15 who were just with the All Blacks. So I think you've actually got to not do it at the same time. You've actually got to play it at a different window, try and find a different way so that you can actually let players like a Ruben Love and a Stephen Petafeta, who haven't had game time for the All Blacks but have been holding tackle bags, or running in the opposition. They need to get game time. We had guys dropping back to this All Black 15 but not even starting. Like I think for me, we just had too many guys. You talk about you need a group pity, but you don't need 60. You don't. You need like 40. You sort of, to me, that's the number you need to be operating around. If you start, maybe even 35, if you're talking about a top tier, But at the moment, we went really deep, and as much as it was nice to be on the road, but ultimately you get no continuity because they had players coming backwards and forwards, and then your guys didn't even train with them, and then come back and sit on the bench. Like, to me, that's not. I don't think it's probably turned out the way they would have envisaged.
But not only that, like they're playing, they're not playing top tier nations to get the development that you want as well. I mean, like it would have been good if they got to play against England or Ireland's top team in terms of the development side of it. But I don't think them going to play Georgia. No disrespect to Georgia, though. I mean, they are a tough nation. But I mean, if you want more development out of it, you've got to be playing against these top tier nations. Like obviously the Maldives, we used to play against some top tiers nations.
You used to play against the Lions.
Yep, we did all right.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's just about like if you're gonna take a team, you don't take them to go and play a club team or anything like that. You've got to be playing against some of the players that are on the fringe of playing in the international team or the actual international team, rather, because then the development's a waste of time.
They played Georgia in that second game, which I think they had merit, no doubt about it. But once again, though, when you look at that group that played against Georgia, how many were the guys were numbers sort of 25 to 35 of the All Blacks, who are actually the guys you want to develop? They're the guys that you want to give more game time. We had the group extended beyond that. The fact that they still beat Georgia is concerning in itself. Like, and if you're talking about a global thing, let's not get into that. Because I see Italy just beat Georgia last weekend by about 3 points. So and we know what we did to Italy at the last year's Rugby World Cup. I think for Italy, this is a massive test match to actually get some credibility back into their international game, this weekend.
Right, let's have a look at some of those other internationals. And Australia, are they back? Has Joe Schmidt turned them round in less than a year? He's been in charge?
Ask Campo. Campo's got
a... he's always got an opinion.
He's always got an opinion, but he's not in the bloody management.
Did you ever line up opposite him in any form of rugby, Jeff?
Campo? Yeah. I played him a few times for Australia. Yep. He didn't tackle me once.
Did he like a bit of a chat on the field?
I love Campo's passion, but look, I understand his frustration that he's on the outside because ultimately he's obviously put himself in a position where he's difficult to work with. It's one of those situations, and when you're a former player, when we're former players, Piri, the one thing you're never wary of is living in the past. You got to, and so I understand the game's different now. Whereas at the moment, Campo's thinking about the great eras and the great times of Australian rugby and wondering why that's not happening now. Well, ultimately, the game shifted and Australia struggled to shift with it in some key areas, and you can't do the things. And he's talking a little bit about philosophy. We're starting to see the influence of Joe Schmidt now with this group. By the same token, Wales are terrible. And if you're sacking coaches or consistently, it's generally not the coach's fault now. It's the fact the players just aren't good enough. And so Wales, they've got to make a decision on what it is around their system, around their players. But going back to Australia, they took care of business with 14 men. They did a really good job against Wales. It was interesting how this conversation might be different if England had any idea how to finish a game of rugby. Because England possibly, did enough. They should have won that game the week before. But Australia now have won two. I'm actually picking them to keep the Grand Slam alive because Australians they only need 2 wins in a row to think they're back. That's just what Wallabies do, man. That's what they do. That's the way that they are. And I love them for it because it means that they start believing in their game. And so if they pull out a win against Scotland and then the Grand Slam is on against Ireland, man, what a week that'll be, And then you think about, all those people saying the Lions tour was a waste of time. Baby, it's on. Like it is. And so imagine if they're playing the Lions and we're playing a full-strength French team in the Southern Hemisphere next year, in the middle of the year. What sort of season are we in for then?
In fact, if you look at the Wallabies, Piri, they seem to be a lot more physical. I don't know if Schmidt has sort of instilled that in them, but they do look a lot more physical. Rob Valentini looked very, very good. Tom Wright was scoring tries for fun, albeit against the Welsh. But you've still got to do the business. So, have you been impressed with how the Wallabies have gone so far?
I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch the game, but I did see the highlights, and what I was impressed was the attitude in terms of the way that they're playing is totally different to what it was at the start of the year or during
the Eddie Jones effect.
Oh, I think the hardest part was listening to Campo about a style of footy that the Australians and Smitty not knowing what it is. I said, what style? They never had a style. They relied on the back of a few players that had good talent to get them over the line, and then you just followed them. Whereas now I feel that Schmidt's actually doing his job in teaching them, I guess, the dark arts of footy. Like, you're seeing guys hit people a lot harder than they used to. You only see a couple times in the game with them. But now, they're pretty strong across the board now, whereas I don't think they've had that in a while. I feel like they've only had a handful of players that have carried that team over the years, and then everyone else is just trying to jump off on the back of that. Whereas now I feel like he's working with the squad that he's got to make them, I guess, give himself a headache every week in terms of selection.
Who do I leave out?
Yeah, exactly, because they're all putting their hands up and making things difficult for the coaching staff, because there's guys on the bench that come on and they add value too, and now it's like, well, do I give him a crack, or do I stick to what we got? Because he's done his job in that 20 minutes of his time on the field. Do I give him that chance to play 60 minutes and bring, so I feel like he's doing a pretty good job, and I'm not too sure if I want to hear
Them
Grand Slam that they've won a Grand Slam.
Look, I'm old school, and a proper Grand Slam is when you've got midweek games as well. When we used to have proper tours.
I just said about talking about the past. I just said it. All right. Get in the future.
He's past player of what?
Historian of the game. Let's go there. But let's just not get stuck in that. That's not, I know you get that with the Lions tour. They play the midweek games. We know that the Springboks, those tours, we're bringing back those, which is great. I get it, understand it. But if we did that, that there'd be 3 buses showing up and there'd be 60-odd players, and you'd still only have one team playing on one game a week. It's just the way it works, Paulie. They're not doing it. All right. I know you want more games to cover and talk about. That's just not going to happen.
We can only regurgitate the same shit.
Here we go.
Every weekend, Paulie. Not Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday.
Fantastic. What about the Argentines? They never gave up against the Irish. They pushed them all the way. They had an opportunity late in the game to maybe tie it up or go for the win. Is this a byproduct of them being in the Rugby Championship for a number of years now, Jeff? That we've seen their consistency sort of lift.
Look, it's a byproduct of a lot of things. I think they got a lift when the Jaguares came into Super Rugby, but that came untenable when COVID hit, and then the cost of travel and the changes made there. And I think they got the benefit of playing a style of football. And now they're getting the benefit of the fact that all of the professionals are actually playing overseas in good competitions. So they're playing around the world. They're not playing together. Argentina is actually the only, country in the world as a union that's actually financially sustainable because their game's amateur in Argentina. So basically, all of their resources and support, goes into their amateur game and to their one top side. And it's obviously some of their sevens as well. But you just look at them. There's enough of the guys who have got experience now to be able to come back together quickly, and Philippe Contepone's obviously got that right for them, and so all of a sudden they've got the right mix of players. Their set piece is starting to hold up, which was an area that got a little bit weak for a few years that we could take advantage of. But we saw a back-to-back performance. We saw them good the week before and get a really good win, and then I still haven't seen a replay of the knock-on at the end of the game. I haven't seen it. It seems convenient. Now, that would be a little bit suspicious. But anyway, I just look at it and go, you know what? They put themselves in a position where they could have created. I don't think you call it an upset now, because they're a team that were in a Rugby World Cup semi-final last year. What they're showing is that on their day, they're very, very difficult to beat. And them to get a back-to-back performance, I think was really important.
You mentioned earlier on in the podcast that there's not a lot between the top 5 teams in the world. Who are the top 5 teams in the world?
For me, obviously, clearly, there's South Africa, then there's France, Ireland, then obviously the All Blacks are in that conversation, and then it's funny, you sort of say, well, who's the next one, right? Who's that other one? Well, I don't see Scotland being there quite there right now. Certainly Wales isn't part of that. Italy, no, and the Six Nations, and so I'm looking at Argentina and going, you know what? You can't sleep on them any given day. So you start looking at and that's not putting Australia in that conversation, but I don't think the All Blacks at the moment, you look at, they haven't beaten us for the Bledisloe Cup in 20 odd years, right? I look at those 5 teams and you're going, if you're slightly off, you're not going to win. Whereas you can be slightly off against the other sides and still win if you're those top 5 teams, So that would be me at the moment. England have got themselves in a situation, yes, World Cup semi-finalists, but there's been too much this year of almosts, not quite. And they're not trending in a direction where they're finding a way to win a couple of big games. They're probably the next cab off the rank, but for me, those top 5.
Right, Piri, as we record this, the teams haven't been named yet for the Italian game, but would you expect to see TJ and Sam Cane in the starting lineup? This being probably their last game in a black jersey?
I wouldn't expect it. I'd expect them to still go out there. I know the value that they both bring, but I can't sort of see them starting Sammy. They potentially, they've introduced Duplessis into the squad, so it'd be good to work on the trio there with either Peter Laka, which we already seen because he came on early on the weekend, and the likes of maybe Duplessis finally getting an opportunity to either start or at least be on the bench to get a crack at it. I'd probably see TJ maybe sitting on the bench and trying to finish the game on a high as opposed to sort of starting. You'd still be on a high coming off if he got subbed off. Sorry, but if you want to hang the boots up in that arena, you want to be doing it on a high and you want to be finishing on a high. So if it was me, I'd rather be on the bench and go to the final whistle and finish the game.
Same question to you, Jeff, but also did you guys, when it was someone's final game and you knew it was their final game, was there I don't know, some added incentive, some extra emotion that sort of lifted you, or did that not come into it at all?
Yeah, there was a little bit. There wasn't farewell tours for many players when I played. It wasn't they made the announcement and say wave goodbyes. It was, guys every so often were moving on. People coming to the end of their careers and going, overseas. Like I would like to think in this case that Sam Cane and TJ would play a role in this game. It'd be a nice way to send them off. But we discussed this on the television the other day. I'd like Sam Cane to have the choice. Would he like to go, I'd like to have another go. Just give me one more, I'm ready to go. Or, I'm pretty happy my last game was against Ireland and we beat them. And, my last memory is having been part of that and beating them in Ireland. TJ, for me, I think should come in. I'd like Cam to start again and TJ to come off the bench. It'll be a nice way to send off. But actually, I think it's been a big year for Cortez Ratama and he can I think, have a break and Cam can keep going because he hasn't played much. Really enjoy, hopefully a really strong performance. I think they'll rotate players. I think guys who played against both Fiji and Japan should get another run. You've trusted them and they did the job in those 2 games. I trust those combinations with a few key guys. If it's not Sam, if he's not involved, then Duplessis the obvious candidate to come in. Obviously, Sammy Penny's going to be out, right? He's going to be out for the 12-day stand down. He did not look good after that game or coming off in that game. So they're going to need someone else to step up as well. So, look, I'm just hoping they probably just need to finish with a really nice and strong performance, so they can leave the tour going, you know what, we're in a good place. We've developed some kids, but we've also kept their standards really high right to the very, very end. There's nothing worse when you do that drop off. And generally, we haven't found that these days. That's why I think the injection of some freshness will be pretty important. Paulie, I've got Ian Kirkpatrick waiting for me. Yeah, now I can't. I'm sorry, I love being on the podcast, but the patron of New Zealand rugby, I'm sorry. If I try and explain it as to why I'm late, that's not going to cut it.
It's not going to cut it with.
That's not going to cut it.
Actually,
Yeah.
You might be right. Just tell him it was that little chubby Mary from Wainui and you'll be right.
Do you think he's going to guess it's you?
It's probably me or me either of us.
Well, Jeff, thanks for joining us again.
Right.
We will not keep you from getting along to see Ian Kirkpatrick. All Black number
666.
What number were you?
935.
1049.
1049. Okay, I'm going to use those numbers on the races this weekend. See how I come.
Well, that's the experts at the TAB at work right there.
That's just leading into our hunch.
That's my hunch. That's my hunch.
Add all those numbers together and you'll get one. All right, team.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Cheers. Thank you, Goldie.
Pleasure.
Cheers, Goldie.
Righty-ho. So, if you look at the All Black team or the team that they're going to name, do you think that someone like maybe a Wallace Satiti, who's been very, very busy this year, has played a whole heap of rugby? Look, he doesn't look like he's getting tired. He's young, but do they give him a break this weekend? And then it means that someone like Sam Cane and Duplessis will have an opportunity to get in there.
Yeah, well, it's either that or I guess they could be looking at other combinations as well for the future if they don't use Wallace on the weekend. I mean, there's the beauty of Lakai and Duplessis, Karifi, and even Artie, which is the Canes trio. There's a lot that sort of can happen, but I guess for Wallace, I think maybe a bit of redemption from last weekend. I know he wasn't his strong self on the weekend, missed a few tackles, didn't quite have that dominant running game that we have seen in the previous test, but still solid. Played good footy, but it's not the footy that we've out from the last 2 test games that we've seen. So potentially, could get an opportunity to have a rest, but I mean, you still want to try and have your best players out there as long as possible. Just purely I guess it would have been different if we had won.
Right.
Definitely would have rested.
Then you could have made a whole lot of change. Give those guys who hadn't played much footy on the tour so far, get them all in there.
Yeah, give them an opportunity this weekend. So because now that they've lost, do they stick to their guns in terms of selection, or do they still chance their arm, make a couple of changes? I wouldn't want to make too many changes, but just make a couple of changes, give people an opportunity, just so that they can get a crack of test footy.
Righty-ho. You got a hunch for
you've got one after asking Goldie,
Ian Kirkpatrick, All Black 666. You were 1049. What was Goldie? What did he say? I'm going to
943.
943. I'm going to add them all together, come up with a magic number for the weekend. I can't do it right now. Oh, hold on. I'll do it right now. Hold on. Wait.
2000.
Well, there's 1, 2, 3 plus. What were you? 1, 0, 4, 3. Is that all three numbers added together?
2658.
2658. So 2 plus 6 is 8. Plus
13.
5 is 13. Plus what?
Oh, what? 8 and 13 is
8 and
21.
13, 21. So 22 plus 1, 3. That's my number. That's my number for the weekend.
3 what?
That's
was
number 3. Ooh, prop to score the first. Ooh, there we go.
Oh,
Righty-ho.
this is good.
Let's have a look. Look now, the bookies.
I don't want to know what happened last week. I already checked it. She was no good.
Oh, it was no good for everyone. Hold on. I better open it then.
I think I might have made a... No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. You had Argentina 1 to 12 at $6.50, not that far away. You had Fiji, South Africa, All Blacks, and Australia to win. You only missed out by 1 point there.
I was so gutted.
And then,
I don't get anything back on that? 25 huck for the last one?
0.
Oh,
What was it? New Zealand first score penalty.
damn it.
No, no good. And Surly had All Blacks minus half a point. Oh, no good. All Blacks minus 7.5 at $3. No good. And then he had Ireland, South Africa, Australia, and All Blacks to win. Oh, once again, just missed out. And I just had the one bet, Wallabies and All Blacks to win. No good. Righty-ho. If we look at this week, the bookies have got the All Blacks at $1.03, Italy $10, the line 28.5. So the All Blacks 28.5 point favourites. The game total 58.5. Obviously, there are no try scorer markets out yet, with the teams not being named. But if you're going to have a go, Piri, what are you doing?
How much was Peter paying?
Who, Larkai?
Yeah. Because he was on the bench.
Oh, he was on the bench.
No
and
money
then,
on him at the time.
No. That's exactly right.
That would have been a hefty payout. Mind you, no one would have known that at the start. Well, when we made our bets anyway. Anyway.
Let me see. I'll see if I can find it. I don't know if we'll be able to. So where are you going to go? What are you doing?
I am going to.
Oh, here we go. Peter Larkai was paying $21 to score the first try. And one punter put $50 on him to get a return of $1,000.
How good.
There we go. Peter Larkai, $21. Woohoo!
Damn it.
Well, what are you going to do? And no good looking back now.
To be fair, we didn't even know he was going to be in the team, to be honest.
He didn't know. Well, he didn't know he was going to be starting as soon as he did. So he went bloody well. Well, and I'm having a look at other internationals. France, Argentina. French $1.20, Argentina $4.20, Ireland $1.03, Fiji $10, Wales $9 against South Africa $1.04, Scotland $1.55, Australia. There's the value. Australia $2.35. Oh, that's right. No, forget about it. I'm going to take Australia to win. All Blacks minus 28.5. That's my bet. $100 on.
Ooh. I need to go big. I'm already wasted anyway.
Oh, here we go.
I'm actually going to do 2. I'm going to put Argentina to beat France 1 to 12. I put $25 on it. Then I'm going to put a multi with South Africa 13 and over. AB's 13 and over. Australia to win. And then I need something to boost that up.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there's nothing on Romania.
Not yet. No, you're going to have to stick with that. You can't go any further.
Why not?
Well, you're putting too many legs in.
What would that... Who do I say? South Africa, ABs.
So what did you say? South
Australia.
Africa? Oh, hold on. You went South Africa 13 and over?
Yeah. ABs 13 and over.
South Africa.
And Australia head-to-head.
Righty-ho, back there. Australia head-to-head. All Blacks 13 and over. Boom, boom, boom. So that's South Africa 13 and over. All Blacks 13 and over. Australia to win. Oh, you went Argentina to win, didn't you?
Yeah, but that was only 25 by itself.
Oh, that's
Not
by
part
itself.
of
Not part of this.
Paying 70 if I'm putting
That's-
75 on it.
That is paying $3.29. If you put 75 on, you'll get 247 back.
It's not going to
If it
work,
comes
is
in.
it?
Well, this is how you build slowly.
Yeah, but I've got to go big or...
You're not going to catch me. Don't worry about that. Just get back
I'm
in the
pretty
positive.
sure there'll be something that'll get me up there.
Just get back in the
No,
positives.
you know what? I'm going to do... I'm going to add to it.
Oh, no. What are you going to add? Ireland?
I am going to add Spain to be USA.
Well, it's not even there yet.
I don't care. You're adding it.
All right.
And Romania to be Uruguay.
Oh, crikey.
And then... Yeah, that's it.
That's it. 75 on that.
It's probably not even going to get in.
We'll keep an eye on it. Alrighty. I think that's it for another week. What are you up to this weekend? No golf?
No golf. Oh, actually, yes, golf.
Again?
Yes.
Where? Oh, you better get some training in because we need you to be in top shape for a bit of golf in December. We'll talk about that another time.
We've got a bit of a rugby reunion. Some of the boys are getting together in Taranaki and playing 2 days of golf, and as opposed to the usual where get on the piss the night before and then play rugby and walk off the field, well, limp off the field or crawl off the field. Those days are over. We decided, we had a bit of a conversation after Pack the Park last year, and then we said, why not play golf? Or
Who's going to be there?
oh, there's quite a few of the boys, actually.
Because I saw a TikTok or an Insta of you and Ma'a and Nemia on a train in Japan and eating Japanese food. That's all I saw. Yeah.
It's very good. There's quite a few of the boys, actually.
Are we talking?
Jason Eden's organised it.
Oh, so we're talking Hurricanes?
No. There's a few boys from around the Motu that are coming along to it. But it's kind of like the same concept. Bit of a piss up the night before, and then we go out and play golf.
Are you teams against teams, or is it just...
So I think the way that we've Jason's organised it is that punters get to play with us.
Oh, right.
So it's basically just us going out and playing golf with a few corporate people around the area, and maybe get flown in to be involved with it and things like that. So
I'll just check. No messages here.
yeah, no, I was just lucky that I got one.
Yeah. Alrighty. I think that's it for another.
What are you doing?
What? One of the boys here, he's having a party at his house Sunday, so I'm gonna have a couple of glasses of wine. That'll be about it.
Oh, you're not going to do
What?
what I was doing last weekend?
Well, honeydew. Oh, there'll be lots of that. Don't worry about it.
That's during the
That's-
week, so you
that's-
can get the brand.
That's every day. Alrighty. Thanks once again for listening to the Pick and Go. And are we going to be back next week? Do a little bit of a wrap up for the year?
Yeah, well,
Should we do that?
why not?
Yeah, okay. We'll be back next week with a wrap up of maybe we can do like a ranking of our best games or our best players from the year.
No, that's too much thinking.
Oh, here we go.
All right, I'll think about it.
Yeah. Okay then. we'll be back next week for, I think, the final episode for this season of the Pick and Go. You never know, though. Anyway, join us next week when... Are you definitely going to be here?
Yes.
Yeah, when Piri will be here. Surly will be back as well. He's actually playing up at Te Arai Links with Sean Johnson, so that's why he couldn't be here with us. But thanks for listening anyway. What?
Where was our invite?
Yeah, well, I did ask.
Oh, sweet and Surly.
Yeah. Okay, see you guys later.